you know, growing up, going to school, I was always the quiet kid, you know, like, 'cause I felt like no one understood my intelligence. I've always been smart, I've always been intelligent, always been, you know, enthusiastic about science, logic, reasoning, you know. I was always that kid, that one kid that would actually, think for himself and then like when the adults would tell me bullshit, I'd be that one kid that actually be logical and be more logical than they were. And they'd be like, "Shut up, ball. You just a child. You don't know what the fuck you talking about." I get beaten or whatever the hell, whatever else, punished. But anyway, um, you know, I always felt that I was ostracized whenever I would speak about, you know, I would share my intellectual endeavors and my quest of knowledge. I would always get ostracized because my peers were not on the same intellectual plateau or realm that I was in. Like they were still worrying about, Jordans or, you know, the basketball game. Like I didn't care about that. Like I cared about, you know, the cycle and of, you know, how long does it take Neptune to orbit the sun and the fact that, you know, Uranus has on a very odd rotation direction. And I was worried about, the fact that human beings are actually animals, contrary to popular belief. I was worried about the fact that, you know, religion is bullshit, and it's just a scam to control people. I was on a I was on some different shit to be, blunt, to put things in layman's terms. I was just smarter than them, you know. And so, in high school, I was, all throughout school into high school, I was this quiet kid, to myself, you know, very smart. Like all the other kids, they think they're so smart because they make good grades. And just when I heard somebody say I'm smart because I have good grades, I would automatically think like, okay, you're not smart. You're a pawn of the system. And at a young age, I knew that school was nothing but an indoctrination tool used to make kids into obedient, homogenous, non-thinking drones that are obedient to their corporate master. Because what's the thing that everybody wants? What's the thing that they socially condition everybody to want? Money. And who makes money? The government. And so, if the government makes the money and they have a sole monopoly on money and valuable resources and necessities, you know what they can do? They can charge however they want for it. You know what they charge? They charge you 8 to 10 hours a day of working at their corporations. That's how they make you get the money. If they have a monopoly on a resource, then they can make you do whatever they want for that resource. And that's what they make you do. They make you a slave to their corporations to make them revenue. See, they've conditioned you to think that, you know, having a job, working a 9 to 5 is a good thing. They've conditioned you, oh, that's a real job. As if being an entrepreneur or, a musician or, you know, anything else that's out of the social norm. They've conditioned you to think that's not a real job, and doing manual labor for a corporation that doesn't care about you, they've conditioned you to think that that's good. you know and as a young kid, I knew this. So I felt like I was alone. I felt like I was alone in, you know my knowledge. I felt like, wow, it's like almost, to use almost like an analogy. I don't really like this analogy because, the terminology in this analogy, but I'm going to use it anyway because most people would understand what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like my intelligence was like I was cursed with a blessing. Like, I'm so intelligent that I know the actuality of reality around me, even at a young age, but it's like I'm cursed because no one understands me, so like I'm ostracized. But then again, like I'm an introvert, so I don't really care about social interactions at all, like at all. Like, so that was actually a good thing. So it's not really a curse, really. It's a curse, but not really a curse, but But that was just to use that analogy. But anyway, so I knew this. That's why I knew all these things. So I dropped out of school because I realized it was pointless. Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's pointless. Just an indoctrination tool. I'm not. Once you're intelligent, you're not fit to be a slave. So if I know all of this stuff, I know the intricate, convoluted nuances of the system and how they control people and how they get people to think what they want them to think. And I'm above that. I'm intellectually adept, and I know these things. Why would I just still fall into their slavery? That seems pretty stupid. I don't care what if you want me to be a regular average Joe. I'm not gonna be that because I'm not that, because I'm intelligent, because I'm myself. I'm not afraid to be myself. I'm unapologetically me. You know, it's like just you know these things, and it's like